My name is Lauren Anderson, and I'm a sophomore here at Arizona State University. I'm currently in the filmmaking practices, but I'm applying for the producing trackway for film and media productions. I very recently have started working as a producer on films, learning new things each time, strictly through organization, utilizing more tools, and just experience. The short film, One Piece, that I will be showing you examples of throughout, is something that I think best utilizes my skills for producing. Starting at the beginning process of producing is always finding a script. I'm not the writer type myself, so I have to go out there and look for a script that I like personally. Luckily, one of my good friends is a writer and really wanted to collaborate with me on a piece. So one night we went out to Village Inn, got a few cups of coffee, and hashed out tons of ideas. We ended up finding this piece for One Piece that we really liked. It had to do with two girls finding themselves falling in love with each other, kind of in a simple way, and later on you find out that they get together. They didn't know what it meant to them back then, and that's what I really loved about the piece. I was interested in doing a piece that is trending more in society currently, because it's something that audience will generally flock to and that people are interested in seeing, and it's a little bit more risque, and that's something that we are able to do and experiment with to see how people adjust to it. So we got this piece that we really liked, and my friend went and made the script and everything, and we signed a legal agreement to give ownership to me and got all of that in the works. After that, we brought on another one of our good friends and someone that I've worked with very often who's very passionate about his job to be our director. We started talking to him about the ideas, and we started to get the whole thing rolling. After getting the story more established with the director and the screenwriter, we sought out the cast and crew. For cast, we held auditions. We actually rented a room out on campus for people to come in. We printed out flyers, put them up, we would talk to people, we advertised it all over social media, hoping for a good turnout. It wasn't the best turnout, but it is more of a risque piece that a lot of people wouldn't feel comfortable with. The two girl actors that we chose because their facial expressions were really good, and it wasn't a piece of too much dialogue. It's something we really needed and felt that we needed for our script. They also were comfortable with kissing, which kissing scenes are hard to do in general, so it's really nice that it didn't take too long. The boy we sought out, we actually had a different boy originally, but he got sick the night before, so we had to have one of our cast members do it. And then the two older ladies we got, it's hard to find older ladies on the database, but we managed to find one, and we contacted her, and we knew of another one who would be comfortable acting. So they both agreed to do it, which was awesome, and we brought them on set. They were lovely, lovely people to work with. A breakdown script is something that I hadn't used in any of my past productions before, and I absolutely loved it. It was so helpful and so effective with helping me know what scenes we were going to shoot on what day and what exactly needed to be there and who exactly needed to be there. This also really helped me in figuring out the finance part of it, because it helped me see what props we were going to need, what costumes we would need, what equipment we would need, etc., all for that day so we could get it beforehand. After this, I had to create a shooting schedule. I had to get everyone's schedules from them and collect what times and days they were available, since we're all really busy students, and see when the cast and crew were available to do this. Once I pieced that together, me and the DP and the director looked over it, finalized it, and then went to our locations to make sure we were able to do it on those days. How we chose our locations is we had a few family friends that had houses that we thought would work for this, so we went and checked out a few different locations. The director and the DP really liked our pool scene one because it was something we could work with for a past era type theme. Since this was supposed to be set more in like the 80s, we needed something that was a little older. So this fit perfectly because it had older pool tiles, the tables, the chairs, they were a little older, and like there's just plants surrounding it, and it was something we could work with. The scene for the older ladies was perfect because it was more homey, and it had something you would normally see at a grandma's house, and it's these two ladies like creating a home full of a loving environment together, and that's what it felt like for us. Also, it had a piano, which we needed for the scene, so it was perfect matches. One of the most important roles that I see strictly for the producer is fundraising. It is our responsibility to find the budget and find someone or means to help us fund the film. Without this, there is no film. I have a lack of experience in this field because it's something that I necessarily haven't had to do in my past. I've always found a means of doing it without having to really pay for it because it's student films. We still did a budget somewhat, and I created a list consisting of gas, catering, transportation, costumes, props, but other than that, our locations were free and given to us by family friends. It was all student-based, so our actors and crew all worked for free, and then everyone just kind of helped to pitch in a little while me and the director paid for a main part of it. The night before each day of shooting, I would email the cast and crew the call sheet. This would tell them what times they needed to be there, or if they needed to be there at all, what time they needed to be in makeup by, where the set location was at, who was going to pick them up, what time, all the information that was necessary. The crew would have generally around 10-hour days because they would get there 2 hours prior to when the cast would get there in order to set up whatever equipment they needed and to get everything ready for the cast. When the cast got there, they would take about 30 minutes for hair and makeup to get done, which one of our crew members actually did for them to make it a little more stylish, and she was just very good at that. So we had them in makeup for about 30 minutes, and by that time when they got out of makeup, director was ready, DP was ready, and everyone was ready for our first scene to shoot. While on set, it was my job to make sure that the scheduling was always on time. There's always going to be those little moments where actors goof off or director and DP aren't on the same page, so I just have to make sure to get them working back in the same place. I would make sure there was always water on set and little snacks that they could munch on, and then we would always have lunch around 12, which me or my assistant producer would go pick up ourselves personally. Being a producer is all about anticipating the next move. Where should I be? What time should I be there? What is the director going to need? What are the actors going to need? How can I keep everyone happy? Being on set is already a stressful environment because there's lots of different things and lots of different directions people want at the same time and lots to be done in one day. So I need to be the positive one of the group and make sure that everyone is happy and not getting too stressed out and gets what they need on time. We always had to make sure to write down notes about what happened in the scene, where everything was at, how the scene went. And I know that this is very important because I was the editor on the piece, so I needed to know which scenes that I needed to get. This also helped us to place the floaty where it needed to go, to put the mixed drinks back to the lines that it needed to be at, and to have the magazines on the same pages. We also, before every scene, would take pictures of it and put tape to mark places where props or actors needed to be. That way, if we needed to go back and redo scenes, it would look exactly the same. It really helped out in the long run. Before each scene, the actors would rehearse the scene. It was really important, especially for scenes like when Amy was pulled into the pool, because that is something you can't do twice. The makeup would never look the same again, the hair would never look the same again, and it would take forever to even get her hair dry in the first place. So we had to redo that scene about 3 or 4 times just to make sure it was perfect before we actually started rolling. Wrap-outs are what we do at the end of each scene, at the end of each day. And they're very vital because you want to be respectful to people who are lending you their locations. For instance, in this case, we were in people's home who were letting us be there for free. So we wanted to make sure we picked up after ourselves. We threw away all the trash, we put everything back, and made it nicer than it was than when we even came before. We also need to make sure we take everything back with us because it's very important equipment that we have. So we made a checklist just to check off that we had all our SD cards, all our lenses, cameras, tripods, etc. So that way we wouldn't leave any really expensive equipment behind and the editor could start working that day. In post I was the editor, so it was really easy to stay on track throughout that process. For this film, we used copyrighted material and just put who the bands were that we used. I know I can't use that for film festivals, but we were just putting on YouTube, so it wasn't a huge deal. If I was to do film festivals, I would go buy royalty-free music or find royalty-free music somewhere and put it in there to enter it. For promoting the film, I would do stuff such as make trailers, put it all over social media, make flyers to hand out, just really get ourselves out there so people come and watch us at a film fest. While I know I have a lot more to learn about producing, I am confident that I will be a strong producer for the FMP program. Thank you so much for watching my creative piece for the application.